PJNet.TV second half, and we are gearing up to bring you Bethany Jett, who will be speaking for herself, and her co-author Michelle Medlock Adams, and we will switch to Studio 7 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, welcome back to PJNet.TV. Boy, do we have an interesting time for you right now, like you have never seen before, because what we have done is we have brought you Bethany Jett and Michelle Medlock Adams, who are co-authors of a book, They Call Me Mom. So they wrote the book on mom. Right, Bethany? And Bethany can hear Michelle.
Well, she went ahead and dropped out since we were afraid it would get too confusing. So it's just me tonight.
Okay. So, well, you didn't know you were signing up for this, right?
Hey, I love to talk about this, so we are good to go.
All right. Well, this is not a book that just came out, although it did come out very recently, just what it seems like just a couple of months ago. Maybe it was longer, though.
Yes, it came out in November, but with everything going on, I don't even know what day it is. Do you feel like that, where just time has changed for everybody lately?
Especially tonight, yes.
Yes, I would agree with that.
But now, when your book came out, one of the first things I noticed, I'm not a mom, so I can't tell you that I had this just rabid interest in They Call Me Mom, but I do have a rabid interest in professionalism and the way that you and Michelle work together, along with the series writer team, blah, blah, blah. You set up a Facebook group, They Call Me Mom, and that thing took on a life of its own.
I love that Facebook group. We just wanted people to have a place to feel like they could share and talk about things without having the judgmental side come in, which sadly, when it comes to parenting, there's always divisions over certain things. And so it's nice to have a place where you can kind of just not have any of that. Mm-hmm.
And that Facebook group took off, and then the book came out. Now here's the thing: you've got this group, you've got all these people got excited about your book, and now the book's out. How's the group doing?
I think it's like any other. When we start really like posting stuff in there, then it builds on comments and people get engaged again. But one of my fears with it was that wouldn't happen, that it would just be something that, it kind of goes on this roller coaster for a while and then dies. But the engagement is still there every time someone's posting. So I think it's a group that doesn't have to have like a daily thing happening in there. But when there's something to talk about, it's a great group of women and men. There's a few men in there, but it's just it's a fun group. So it's called They Call Me Mom. And for anybody who wants to join, we'd love to have you.
You go to Facebook and find They Call Me Mom. And so Mother's Day is approaching. So Michelle thought it would be a good time to talk about the virtue and importance of motherhood and how your book addresses that.
We're actually calling this the month of mom because Mother's Day is so early in the month, and we both thought it wasn't until next week, and I don't know how we missed that, but we were laughing about that. Just time just feels different right now, I think, for so many of us. And but we're just going to celebrate moms all month long, and really, I think we should be celebrating parents all year long. But to actually have a day is kind of nice.
Well, until Father's Day, anyway,
For sure. I think because we're taking on so many roles right now that a lot of us weren't before, especially with school. If you had kids who were going to school and now they're doing, at-home learning. I mean, that's happened in our family at least, and we homeschooled for a while, so I thought it would be a lot easier. But I'm not in charge of their curriculum now. It's the school and the teachers, and so now having to work within their system and what they need on top of my job and everything else I was doing too. And my husband, I know a lot of families are struggling with that, so I'll be ready for school to be to be over. So we're going to celebrate moms all month long because it's just a hard time.
Well, when you look at the context, as you said, in what we're working with right now, this has surely put some strains on moms.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think your book could have foreseen that.
No, I agree with you. Like the book They Call Me Mom, it really is a resourceful book. We wanted it to have lots of tips and strategies and resources for women, so that it wasn't just a fluffy devotional that they would pick up or that somebody would buy for them and then they would put it on the shelf never to look at it again. It's actually chock full of good things, and we took all of those resources, the 52 of them, and put them into like an email funnel so people can sign up, and once a week they'll get one of those resources delivered straight into their inbox too. So we wanted to take it from book to actually downloadable things, checklists, recipes, so that they wouldn't have to copy things out of the book too. So we really wanted it to be something people could get a lot of use out of.
Well, let me broaden the scope a little bit, because you are in a position of expertise and actually authority because you're a mom. Number two, you're having to go through this like we all are, where we're kind of stuck in home, and you are actively involved in Serious Writer. You're partners with co-authoring and partner. And I talked to Dell last night, and he says that the writing world, everybody's just kind of in suspense, kind of on hold. How do you stay motivated personally? And people are looking to you and your teammates, the leadership at Serious Writer, for leadership, and we're in uncharted waters here.
That's true. We've done a couple of things. As a writer, personally, I have been trying to read more and give myself permission to do that first thing in the day, mostly because of a guy named Jim Quick, and it's Kwik. He's kind of known as the memory guy or the brain guy, but he teaches speed reading, and he also does things with celebrity clients, teaching them how to memorize scripts faster and things like that. But he's one of the guys I had to listen to for a leadership program that I was taking for school, and it was fascinating. And he talked about how he tells his clients that the first hour of the day to not look at their phone, because what you're doing is you're teaching your brain, which is what I always do. It's the first thing I grab.
Sure.
But he said what we're doing is we're checking up and catching up on all the stuff that happened while we slept. And so we're teaching our brains to receive, I think he said dopamine and some other hormones, that so you go on a high level right away in the morning, but then you have to come down off of that when you start doing everything else. And so you're teaching your brain, wiring your brain to expect that. And so for that first hour, he recommends not doing other things, so that way you're not having these spikes. Very interesting. He's someone I want to research further. So that gave me permission for myself to start reading. And I think that's kind of helping me stay inspired on wanting to write, because I'm reading books in my genre and I haven't read in a really long time. So that, as a writer, that's one thing that's helping keep me motivated. But with the Serious Writer team, who are all amazing, and Michelle's our chair queen of that, what we did is we wanted to give people a way to still have a conference experience at home for a very inexpensive price. So we just got done doing 3 different days of simulcasts for fiction, nonfiction, and children's writing. And we did it only for $10 for the whole day. And so we'll be offering those classes, later, but we're just trying to keep people motivated and help them, because it's hard right now. Like, a lot of people are losing their jobs in the publishing world. I mean, all over, but strictly publishing houses are kind of getting smaller. And then, some houses have gone to pub board, and they know what books they're going to keep publishing. So that's moving on. But some of them have slowed down, and you're not hearing back right away. And it's a really good time for writers to be working on proposals and getting all of that in order. So when things do get back up to speed, they're going to be ready. That was a lot, Coach.
Well,
that was a lot right at you.
Well, like I said, we're in uncharted waters, and it's really, I don't want to say this is a good thing, but this is the kind of thing that separates the wheat from the tares, because so many are just curled up in a fetal position. So many are just, in a cave thinking, well, the storm will blow over. Well, yes, it will. The difference
Right.
is there are some people that are making progress. They're doing things to the ship while it's in port and can't be used. And I think this is an opportunity for people because things have slowed down. So all those things you said, I wish I had time to do, well, you do have time to do them now. On another note, I almost posted something today because I loved the 30-day challenge. 31, is it 30 or 31?
Yeah.
Who hatched that one?
Okay, so you have to give credit where credit is due. I am in another group for one of the business programs that I use, and they were doing a 30-day challenge. They did it differently, but it was so fun to get to know some of the people in there in a new way and make connections. And Hope Bollinger, who is an agent with Kyle, and she's also our admin at Serious Writer. She's my right hand. I texted her right away and I said, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so fun if we kind of merged the idea on Facebook, like those 30-day challenges you'll see on Instagram. What if we do something like that, but kind of apply it to writers, similar to how this group is doing it, kind of merge the two together. And so I was like, I had an idea for the first like 3 or 4 of them. And she was on it. So she went out and was kind of looking up different challenges, like what are some of the best questions to ask. And people got so, you never know. It's a risk. Like it could have totally, it flopped, but you got to try. But it was so fun to see people getting on video sometimes for the first time, practicing their pitch or sharing about their book, or even going beyond that into kind of who they are and what they like to do, and sharing pictures of their home. And it was super fun. We won't do it again every month so that it, doesn't lose that luster, but we'll do it again. It was awesome.
I was impressed because it challenges people to do something different, to take an initiative. But I kind of compare it to karaoke. Everybody's saying, I'll go after, as soon as, no one wants to go first.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of prime the pump and somebody jumps in there and does it, all of a sudden, the herd instinct takes over, and you see people who would never do that kind of thing doing that kind of thing,
Yes. Have you seen that YouTube video? I think it's titled The First Follower.
Mm-mm.
And they talk about, it's not the leader. You have to have that person, but it's the first follower who changes everything. And it's this video shot, a home video, and it's this outdoor concert. And this guy he's getting up and he's dancing, and all the different people are on they've got picnic blankets around, and everyone's kind of sitting there listening. And he's like crazy dancing, and he does it for a while. But then one person joins him. And then very quickly after that, it becomes this mob. And so they're talking about that exact thing, that you have to have the leader and everyone thinks he's crazy until someone joins him. And then it's not so crazy anymore.
Right. And if nobody joins him, the leader is crazy. He looks...
It's an awesome video. I think that's how I found it on YouTube. I think it's The First Follower. And it's part of a bigger talk, probably a TED Talk or something, but so good. Such a good video to listen to.
I want to take an opportunity. The chat room, among others, Whitney Ward is in there. She loved it. But have you seen her mountain climbers work?
I'm familiar. And I lost the chat. I'm so sad. So,
folks, if you haven't, go to Whitney Ward's Facebook page and check out Mountain Climbers. It is truly amazing. And she has a surprise guest coming up Friday. So I wanted to tip my hat to her and say that. So while I have the hiccups, Bethany, where do we go?
Bethany.
Where do we go as Serious Writer and the thing, your domain? What are we looking for next? All the conferences are now starting to get rescheduled.
Yeah.
So how's that going to, work out? All your plans are changing.
They are. Being able to do things online the way that we did was really helpful. Like, big shout out to Cody Moorhead, our creative director, and Kyle, who did a lot of the stuff, where they're at. once things get back to normal, I think we're going to resume some of the plans that we had for the fall and then start moving into 2021. I think a lot of conferences are going to do that. But I think this was good. I mean, this is not good, but looking at a bright spot in it, I think it's helping people get more comfortable with online types of trainings. And I think that that'll be a good push moving forward because it's a lot more cost effective for people to spend a little bit of money because the cost isn't so much on the conference end either too. So I think it'll help a lot.
Well, this has played right into my scenario because I've been long before we ever knew each other, have been advocating, digital, video. We have the means to do it. And of course, nobody wanted to do it. It's important to be there and see each other and press the flag. And it is.
It is.
I never argued that it wasn't. I'm saying, but we can now make this available cheaper to more people. And if you truly want to get the word out, which they claim, it's like, well, why don't you do it? I went to a class at a school, one of these adult business things where you have a professor tell you how to be an entrepreneur, which I find an oxymoron. If you were truly a good entrepreneur, wouldn't you be doing that instead of teaching it? Makes you wonder. But I argued to him. I said, look, we can get this out to more people. We don't have to be limited to the number of people who can drive here and sit in this class. The Zoom has just, taken off. And it seems like everybody's on Zoom except me. Is it possible? I mean, you're doing it. How's it working out? Is it possible that we're going to perpetuate this new model of, hey, you don't have to drive and get a hotel room and eat and no. We can do more and we can do it cheaper.
Yeah, I think there'll still always be a place for the in-person things, but I think it's going to open the doors for extra ways for people to be able to get the content. I mean, that was the idea behind the Academy when we, in 2015 was some people can't get to the in-person thing, so why can't this be an online situation? And it's good that people are figuring that out. And like, I think for writers too, and moms, so coming back to that, Michelle was filming videos today, doing more interviews with mom tips. And so one of the ways, it's more about just getting the book in people's hands, but actually giving them information in the ways that they can see it and need it. And sometimes that's in the form of video testimonials. And so we just got a whole other slew. I think we've got 7 or 8 more videos that we'll be sharing out to the Facebook group and on our Michelle and Bethany Facebook page too, or some really great stuff. Michelle was sharing with me some of their tips, and I was like, I can't wait to go through and watch them and then get them edited and out there, because I think it's so great when we can learn from each other, and being able to do it online, it makes it's so practical because I can listen to that while I'm doing something else, and really saves time and is encouraging.
Well, and it's, people say podcast. I don't know how many people know what POD, P-O-D, actually stands for.
Tell us.
Play on demand.
Oh, really? I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's real simple.
I may not have known that.
I thought it had to do with an iPod or an iPad, or no, it's play on demand. And so now you can get the information from the authorities, the experts, and blah blah blah, but you can get it on your terms.
Right.
And you're right. Conferences, I don't want to see those diminished in any way. But how many conferences can you realistically go to unless you're faculty and somebody's picking up the tab?
That is true. I think we'll see for us. We've talked about having more intimate gatherings, because I think that's what people really crave. Is there's a lot of teaching out there, and it's great to go to the workshops. But what we love the most, when we went to Nashville, for example, we had a whole day of training and it was awesome. But then a lot of people came back to our house that we had, the Airbnb that we had, and we just ordered a bunch of pizza and we got to hang out, and people started, getting to know each other and then kind of grouping off and stuff. And that was probably my favorite part, was because people started to really get to know each other and network and go deeper. And so we're like, how can we, I think a lot of our conferences and things in the future are going to be heavily focused on that aspect, because we can give the teaching in lots of different ways.
Right, and what you're doing is you're cultivating collaboration, not just networking, but collaboration. Next thing you know, I mean, right now, Doug and I are working on something. By the way, Doug was just here at the Eagle's Nest moments ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was traveling to a friend at the beach, and he passed. And so he and his son came in the Eagle's Nest. We gave his son a quick tour and a quick lesson on green screens and things like that. And but Doug and I are collaborating on a project. And then, Doug's checking in with so-and-so. And so I think that you're right, and you facilitate networking, but networking in and by itself, okay, we call it fellowship. That's a good thing, but that doesn't produce a product. It produces a feel-good. But in the publishing industry, or any industry for that matter, you've got to produce. You've got to produce something that gets consumed. So I see all kinds of opportunities for networking that leads to collaboration, and it's good to hear how you guys are getting together and providing leadership in that direction. And I can't wait for the next 30-day challenge. I mean, all I lost was 30 days, but what I guess, at risk of leaving someone out, what was there one that stood out in your mind that just blew you away?
For the 30 days?
Yeah.
It wasn't so much one person. I think the day challenge that stuck out to me most was when people started getting on camera, and I think it was the elevator pitch, and then there was another one where we asked them to get on camera and share something. And I would read in the comments where some of them would say, this was my 12th take, or I was so nervous to do this, but that was a step of growth. And I think that's what I got the most excited about was, this challenge was just this kind of crazy little idea, but in some ways it helped people take a next step to be more comfortable doing something that maybe they weren't before. And I think that's probably what I'm most proud of with it.
Now, do you all do like coaches do? Do you kind of go what I call, watch the game film? Have you huddled up with Kyle and others, to look at the 30-day challenge and see what parts of it were good, what parts of it may need to be, culled out? Have you had that meeting yet?
Not yet. We'll probably go through and look at engagement numbers, like with the insights and things, like which ones got the most traction. But it's also going to have to be scrolling through because people did them on different days and in different posts. So, I always think it's a good idea to evaluate and look and see like what worked and what didn't. And so when we do it again, we'll have some new things added because some people are going to need to do the next steps. Like we asked them to do these things, and now they need to do the next thing. And some people are going to be new, and they're going to need to do the early things too. So it's constant going back and forth. But when I was a cheerleading coach for 3 years at the high school, and we did competitive cheer and of course sports cheer. But the head coach and I both, I remember I would take the videos of them and I would go back and watch over and over and over, watching each girl. And we had 16 on the mat, sometimes 20. And so it's just constant back and forth watching every single move and motion, and this is where it messed up, and then how did these go, and so it's not that intense, but I don't know, I loved that so much because then you go back to practice and you're like, okay, here's where we have to fix it. I don't know,
it's good.
I used to do that a lot.
All right, well, Bethany, you have very capably carried the water tonight in Michelle, and I really regret that because when you and Michelle get together here, I just get to take a break and just laugh. It's unlike
the two of us together.
So we're because this is anyway. So I'll circle up with Michelle before next Wednesday and find out what kind of jinx she has gotten in her phone. But Bethany, thanks for sharing with us tonight, and we really appreciate all the work that you and Michelle are doing together. The work, you are in so many different roles, but we appreciate you and appreciate you sharing generously, with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, Bethany. Well, that was supposed to be Bethany and Michelle, but it turns out to be Bethany and Coach. all I was going to do was just nothing. I didn't have to do anything, but I had to actually work and earn it. But I appreciate all of you who have made your plans to be here at pjnet.tv in our chat room, and I love reading the chat after the program. I always do that before I start editing for the highlights. Let me give you a quick update. I know there's been some already. I placed the order today for additional internet bandwidth, and according to the phone company, they'll have it on May the 11th. I don't believe that because I know how many cable pairs are out there and there aren't enough. But I couldn't convince them of that. But at least the order has been placed. At least there is a due date, and on that due date, they'll come out here and give me another due date. But it's happening. It's going to happen no matter what. And we are looking forward to enjoying even more of what we already have. Thanks to all of you in the chat room. Hey, it's time to go. It's a little late. We were late getting started tonight, and we apologize for making you wait, but thank you for your indulgence and long suffering and perseverance. Maybe you didn't have anything better to do, but I will leave you with two questions. Question number one. What is the boldest thing you have ever done for Jesus Christ? Question number two. When was that? I have challenged myself, and I hope that you too will accept the challenge to never be satisfied with either.